Welcome to MC Green, a show devoted to the eco-friendly efforts of Montgomery College. I'm James McLean. I'm here in front of the new Rockville Science Center, the latest addition to the Rockville campus. A major goal of this building was to be LEED Gold certified. Here's a look inside the RSC construction process.
The new Rockville Science Center is scheduled to open in November of 2011. As part of the total building commissioning process, a pressure water leak test was conducted to ensure that the high-performance building envelope will not leak, even under extreme conditions. Random sections of the exterior wall were sealed with plastic and the air was pumped out to simulate wind-driven pressure on the building. Water was then sprayed onto the exterior surface for several minutes. The goal is to see if any water leaked in when the building experiences adverse atmospheric pressure conditions, such as a hurricane. A properly constructed high-performance building envelope blocks air and moisture from reaching the interior. This reduces energy consumption and improves indoor air quality by preventing the growth of mold and mildew. The air handling systems were installed on the rooftop. These large air handling systems provide fresh conditioned air to the occupied spaces and makeup air to the laboratory fume hoods. High-performance filters trap particulates to ensure good indoor air quality for the building occupants, while heat recovery coils extract energy from the exhaust stream that would otherwise be wasted and sent into the atmosphere. The large open atrium lobby area is starting to take shape. With a large skylight window at the top to provide natural daylight and a large rotating ceiling fan for air movement, this area will be a signature location inside the new center. The atrium lobby is conditioned with secondary air, which is returning to the air handling system after first providing primary conditioning to the occupied spaces such as classrooms and offices. This technique saves energy by allowing more use of the available energy in the airstream. The supports for the solar photovoltaic panels are now in place. The panels will provide approximately 1% of the building's electrical power and will be surrounded by a green roof. Green roof systems offer many advantages, such as absorbing rainwater to reduce runoff, reducing solar gain into the building's cooling system, and providing a cooler roof to reduce the heat island effect, a major source of temperature increases in cities. The Science Center's goal is to recycle 75% of the waste generated by the construction of this building. Waste construction materials are collected in specifically marked dumpsters and shipped off-site, where the co-mingled materials are separated and recycled. Without this process, all of the construction waste would end up in the landfill.
A new high-performance greenhouse is being installed as part of the new Rockville Science Center and will be located on the west side of the building. The new greenhouse provides enhanced space to meet program requirements of the science department while being integrated into the sustainable landscape and water environment adjacent to the pond. The old greenhouse will be demolished as part of the Science East renovation project. The rectangular building located on the west side of the roof is the new observatory, which provides laboratory space for the astronomy program. The roof of the observatory slides back to provide an unobstructed view of the sky. 25 kilowatts of solar photovoltaic panels will be fastened to the southerly facing sloped roof at the top of the atrium. The standing seam metal roof has been installed along with the metal walkways, which will be used to access the photovoltaic panels. 3 large exhaust fans are located on this sloped roof and assist with free cooling of the building and as smoke exhausts during a fire emergency. Now that the building envelope has been mostly completed, construction of interior finishes is progressing rapidly. High-efficiency chillers, cooling towers, and air handlers, which provide cooling to the building, have been operational for several weeks. They have been providing conditioned air so that surfaces such as drywall and casework can proceed and not be affected by the humid summer conditions. Exterior site work to the east of the building will include a plaza, walkways, and a rain garden. This new green space will form the southern end of a new central plaza, which will eventually extend from South Campus Drive to the north parking lot and provide pedestrian walkways and gathering space for the college community.
This is our mock-up lab for the Rockville Science Center. It's part of our total commissioning process, our total quality control process for delivering a quality building and to meet the owner's project requirements. Basically, we build this in a smaller scale so that we have the opportunity to view the finished product before it gets installed throughout the rest of the building. In fact, our contractor, Clark Construction, uses this. They basically produce a report called Lessons Learned, and then they take corrective action before the lab gets spread throughout the rest of the building. And you can see the detail in here. This is a typical laboratory setup with the lab benches, teaching station, wet lab facilities. All the lighting is installed. In fact, one of the things that we do from energy standpoint is we will take, and because these rooms were designed specifically for a certain foot candle level, we will take light level readings just to make sure that everything meets specification at this point in time. One of the things you don't want to do is you don't want to end up designing a good lighting system and then at the end of the job find out that it wasn't installed correctly. So the worst thing that could happen, we'd not provide enough lighting, and that certainly is not a good learning environment. So right now we're at showing about 76 foot candles. We want 50-foot candles maintained. So when you initially start up a lighting system, you're going to end up higher, and then over a period of time, lamp depreciation, so forth, will bring you down to the 50-foot candles, and at that point, you change the lamps out. We also have in this room examples of our motion sensors, so that if this room becomes unoccupied, the lights go off, the air conditioning goes off. We also have an example in this room of daylight sensors, so that if we get daylight contribution through the windows, the lights will automatically dim in here, reducing the power consumption in the building. So this is an example of what will be in a typical laboratory. This is an emergency eye wash, emergency shower, emergency ventilation starts, and emergency shutoff for equipment. We have ADA compliant desks. You can see where you can have enough room in here to put under a wheelchair so that an ADA person could work at a lab bench. And then there's an example of the deionized water polisher. Basically downstairs we have a reverse osmosis supply water system. It gets pumped up here, and then we take, for the labs that really need the extra scrubbing in their water supply, we take these deionized water polishers and scrub it down, and now they have a very pure water source for the experiments that would go on in this type of a laboratory. We have dishwashers for laboratory glassware and so forth. The sinks, all of the fixture holders, shelving. And then over here we have an example of the fume hoods that would be typically placed throughout the building. Two different kinds, with all the fixtures and the fittings with the gas and the vacuum. How it's hooked up, how the hood sash operates. And this gives everybody an idea exactly what's going in the building. So if there's anything that needs to be tweaked or adjusted, fits and finishes, they can be adjusted now before we spread it throughout the building. Saves a lot of money and manpower. This is the electrical distribution panel. So outside the building we have the Pepco electrical service comes in, through a transformer, comes into these distribution panels, and as part of this distribution panel, we have a monitoring system to find out how much power we're consuming. And then all these circuits right here distribute throughout the building and go to the different labs and different services throughout the building.
Macklin Business Institute students created projects to raise environmental awareness. Global electronic waste awareness and a new biodegradable coffee mug were among the projects.
Students in the Macklin Business Institute are launching a global e-waste awareness and action project. Most Americans are probably not aware of the electronic waste or e-waste epidemic, nor are they aware they are contributing to it.
The goal of the project is to raise awareness about the electronic waste scams that are going around in the world we live in today. Electronics that should have been recycled properly are actually being shipped to the third world countries, and they're actually polluting the environment that these third world countries are inhabiting.
When computers, monitors, and other electronic components are improperly disposed of, materials can seep into the groundwater and be toxic enough to cause serious health risks. The result is contamination of water resources for humans and grazing animals, indirectly contaminating food sources. In an effort to avoid high cost of proper disposal, e-waste is often shipped overseas for processing in developing nations like Africa, China, and India. According to the EPA, roughly 14% of all e-waste was recycled properly in 2007. Over 80% of it ended up in our landfills.
Everyone has something old or unused lying around the home or office, like maybe something needs to be cool before Christmas.
Common types of electronics students and faculty can drop off at our various locations include cell phone, phone chargers, printers, battery chargers.
Instead of throwing it in the trash, sending it down to the landfill, what we need them to do is bring it down to the campus. We're going to have multiple locations actually. Maybe we'll have a place in the humanities building, library, down by the cafeteria. So we definitely need students to bring those items down to there. We're going to have collection boxes. It's going to have a big sign. It's going to tell them what they need to do in order to put it in the box, and that's what we need students to do.
Look for the special e-waste disposal boxes around campus. Green as a Primary Color is a program designed by Macklin Business Institute students to educate MC students about the environmental impact of disposable coffee cups. Americans consume more than 23 billion cups of coffee every year, much of it in disposable paper cups. Despite being made from 100% recycled paper due to current FDA restrictions, they still contribute to massive amounts of waste to our landfills. The Student and Free Enterprise team designs, markets, and sells a special travel coffee mug.
The mug is so special because it's biodegradable. The mug is also special because it's for students who, with their busy college lives, they never have time to just every day be given to the environment. But this mug is a great opportunity for the students to be able to purchase the mug. They get their coffee that they always want every morning, and they also are able to give to the environment in the same way, at the same time.
With repeated use, the mugs can have a drastic impact on reducing waste, natural resources, and greenhouse gases. It's made of biodegradable plastic that will completely break down in 1 to 5 years under normal landfill conditions. This is not a profit venture for the MBI students. All proceeds over and above the initial startup cost are to be kept by the respective MCPS schools conducting the fundraiser. It is designed as a real-life business exercise with attention to environmental impact.
The Germantown campus held a virtual groundbreaking for the new Bioscience Education Center, which will soon be built on that campus. Lillian Mass has our story.
3, 2, 1.
Montgomery College celebrated the virtual groundbreaking of the Bioscience Education Center, which will be located on the Germantown campus.
With the Bioscience Education Center, the Science and Technology Park, and the Innovation Center, Montgomery College will provide students with hands-on educational experiences and our community with an influx of new jobs. Plus, it will allow for the expansion of our academic programs to meet the rigorous demands of the new economy, science, and healthcare industries.
Today is about opening doors to higher education for everyone willing to work to achieve it. It's about making critically needed investments in science and technology. It's about developing creative links between the academic activities of research and education and the real world of organizations and businesses. And it's about leveraging all of these activities to create jobs for today and, more importantly, for tomorrow, and ultimately, most importantly, improving the lives of our communities.
I bring congratulations and best wishes from all of my colleagues at Human Genome Sciences as we celebrate today the groundbreaking of the Bioscience Education Center. I also bring our thanks for your leadership of an institution that is essential to Montgomery County, that is the flagship of Maryland's community college system, and that also serves the business community by preparing students for work in companies like ours.
This is a great day for innovation. It's a great day for innovation in Maryland. I just came from the Rockville headquarters of a biopharmaceutical company called Novavax, and they are the recipient of a $170 million federal contract to develop the next generation of flu vaccine. Used to require a process that required 1 million eggs, and now they've given the chickens a break, and they're able to figure out how to do this with what in essence is a bio decoy. They're able to cut by about, they're able to reduce the time that it takes to production by about 75%, if I was doing my math right along the way. It's just one of the more than 500 biotech and life science companies that in Maryland that help make our state the epicenter of science, healing, innovation, and discovery. And in your state government, we are partnering with all of these companies and with our great institutions of higher learning.
The new building will have science classrooms, laboratories, and a greenhouse. Courses offered will include the normal science disciplines, as well as use of a robotic suite for cell cultures and protein purification. A lab that will be modeled after a commercial lab to support student learning of real-world techniques.
A chance phone call led me here to Montgomery College and the biotechnology program, and after the first class I attended, I knew I was in the right spot. What makes Montgomery College so unique is not only its location here near so many biotechnology programs, but that the teachers also work in the industry, so the curriculum stays relevant.
The center is expecting to receive LEED Gold certification for its sustainable features, which include solar photovoltaic panels, a green roof system, wind turbines, high-efficiency building systems, and water-saving plumbing fixtures.
About 4,000 jobs now in Maryland that have been created because of the market demand of LEED certified buildings. Developers are figuring out that they can get a higher rent when they have buildings that actually do a better job of reducing electric costs, reducing the impact on the environment, reducing the impact of the stormwater runoff and the like. So that's why even in the toughest of times, together, your state, you have invested a little over $33 million to make this center possible.
The new Bioscience Education Center will be built at this location at the Germantown campus of Montgomery College. There will also be more than 70 acres of forest and a stream valley buffer that will be preserved as part of the campus forever. For MC Green, I'm Lillian Mess.
Earth Fragile Planet is an exhibit that showcases over 40 of the world's most accomplished illustrators. The exhibit was recently on display at the Communications Arts Technologies Gallery, giving students the chance to see these works of art about the environment.
Here we have this wonderful collection of illustration from all over the world. We have an Australian artist in the show, and it spans generations. We have some younger artists, someone that's still in school, someone like Professor Murray Tinkleman and Jack, who have had an entire career doing illustration. I felt like this is something that's also near and dear to my heart. Protecting the environment, nature, and I felt like April, because Earth Day takes place in April, this would be a perfect time to bring this show to our gallery and share it with all of you. This one here is Greg Harlan. This is done in watercolor. Greg actually is one of the few local artists. He's right here in Annapolis, and he works with a studio and does a lot of work. He does a lot of historical illustration and also a lot of work for organizations like National Geographic. This piece is called Gaia, which is, I believe, the Greek word for land or earth. And you kind of have to step up close to this to see the beautiful, intricate detail in this. I'm assuming that her idea was Mother Earth, and you can see that Mother Earth is not doing too well at the moment. So the Earth protects us, and we need to do something to protect the Earth. Absolutely beautiful. It says here it's oil on board and then mounted on a panel. Everyone seems to respond to this one. This is called Global Warming, and it was done for Vanity Fair for their green issue. This is Anita Coombs. Also very well-known illustrator, does a lot of work for Rolling Stone magazine, Time magazine, Vanity Fair. And then this piece in the corner, which we were talking about, several of us have talked about, I assumed that was digital, which I was very curious about because it's by an artist named Dugald Sturmer, who does a lot of natural science and wildlife illustration. And again, you're going to want to get these names and Google some of these people and see the kind of work they do. So when I saw this piece, I was very surprised because he works usually in colored pencil, and I was surprised to see him working digitally. But if you look closely at this, it is not digital. That was done in colored pencil on blackboard, and it is amazing. We talked about Wendell Miner's piece right here. Wendell Miner has made a career of book cover illustration, and he now does a lot of children's books. And I believe this one is acrylic on masonite panel, and he did this for HarperCollins. And so this was an actual book called Sierra. So you can actually buy this book and look at all the pictures. It's one of the numerous children's books I've illustrated over the past 20 years that deals with nature and the environment. He actually travels a lot to these locations when he does his artwork. And this one here we were looking at a few minutes ago, and someone was asking about it. This says crayon on vellum. This is by Peter de Sève, who is a well-known illustrator, does a lot of work for the New Yorker magazine. Has anybody here read the New Yorker magazine? Yeah? You've probably seen his work, and it doesn't look exactly like that. He tends to work in pen and ink and watercolor. And we looked at this on his blog, and this was inspired by the terrible oil spill in the Gulf last summer. And he submitted this to the New Yorker for their cover, and it was not accepted. And so this is just his sketch, and I love that this is in the show because my students can see what sketches look like. That's what we do all the time, and that's what everybody's sketches look like. He was using crayon on vellum for his. And on his blog, if you go to his blog, you can see he also shows the piece that was accepted, which is by Barry Blitt, and it's also very nice. But I think this is a wonderful idea for to make a statement about that terrible disaster over there.
I think it's essential for every college and institution to teach and to inform students and faculty about the issues that are going on in society and the environment and global warming. You know, these are issues that affect all of us and will affect future generations. So I think it's absolutely a necessity for the college to put on events like this, and not just during, you know, Earth Day, but throughout the year.
Montgomery College is, as far as I understand, Montgomery College is very involved and concerned with environmental issues. The new Science Center we're building is a very green building. We are all making all kinds of efforts to protect the environment. We're learning things like just recycling, for example. Artists traditionally go through a lot of paper, a lot of supplies, and we're learning how to recycle them. And there seems to be a huge effort at Montgomery College to be a greener kind of institution, to be part of the solution rather than part of the problem. And so I think a show like this contributes to increasing that awareness. I think this is an absolutely beautiful show, and I was delighted that we had the opportunity to bring it here. Anytime I can share an exhibit like this with my students and with the college, I consider it a real opportunity. It's a subject that's near and dear to my heart, and when I can share it with the larger population here at the college, I feel very rewarded.
For more MC Green stories, please visit the Montgomery College YouTube channel. Until next time, thanks for watching.